Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com, bringing you another episode of my Comment of the Week series where I comb through all of my social media accounts and select a comment that I believe is worthy of addressing in video. So let's get right into it. First comment today comes from one of my Tank Talk Q&A videos. I didn't write down which one. And it comes from Stebs36, and he asks, so who is your favorite superhero? And he makes it very clear that Batman is his. This is a difficult question to answer, and it's one that I could probably spend an entire video talking about. But look, I'm an older guy, 41 years old. I've grown up watching superhero shows, superhero cartoons, movies, all of those. Of course, as a kid, I watched Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk. I watched Christopher Reeve as Superman. I watched Adam West as Batman. No, I'm not old enough to have seen those when they were brand new. I watched it on reruns. But my favorite superhero as a kid was The Flash. I absolutely loved The Flash. I loved his ability to just run through walls and run through time and all of that. Thought it was really cool, and that's never really changed. So the fact that they have a Flash TV show now is like heaven on earth for me. I also am a huge fan of Deadpool. I feel like Deadpool was written for me. Like, what would John Hudson like in a superhero? That's what we're going to make, and Deadpool was born. Love Deadpool. I cannot wait for the movie that's coming out in February. If I had to pick my favorite, I would say it's The Flash, but Deadpool would be a very close second. So the real comment today comes from Aaron Hardy. There's actually two comments. I'm going to read them both. This is from my Buying Fish Online podvid video that I put up a while back, and it reads like this. Hey John, I have a question. A few days ago, a transformer on my street exploded or something, and firefighters had to shut off our power for about 5 hours. I live in New York, and the weather has been extremely hot. Luckily, my dad had a generator. Unfortunately, I was only able to plug in one thing using an extension cord. Now, obviously, I was freaking out because I didn't know whether to plug in my filter or the air conditioner. I decided to plug in my filter and monitor the temperature. My fish went a little crazy for a while, but fortunately, no fish died. So my question is, if your power goes out, is it best to maintain temperature or have your filter going with temperature rising? Thanks a lot. Your videos are great, Aaron. Second comment on the same topic came from my good friend Michael McShane from Love My Wet Pets. He just changed that recently. He says, hot summer tanks, keep them cool, and how? Very quick, short, and to the point. So here's the thing. If you have a decision to make whether you're going to turn on power to your filter or the temperature, and you're not sure which one is going to be best, think about it this way. Think about nature. Now, I realize probably none of your fish came from the wild, so they've never experienced nature. But in these glass boxes, we're always trying to create the most natural environment we can for our fish and keep things as close to what they would experience in the nature as we can. Well, do you think the temperature stays a consistent degrees all year round? I think probably not. Imagine how hot it gets in Southeast Africa, where the main 3 lakes are. Think about how hot it gets in the Amazon. It gets ridiculously hot in both of those places. So naturally, the water temperature is going to rise, and it doesn't seem to affect the fish. If it were me, I would think about it that way, and I would turn my filter on, because hot water is not going to kill your fish. I mean, obviously, if it gets way too hot, then it could be a problem. But your tank is in your house, and I'm sure it's in the shade, and I'm sure the temperature is not going to get so hot that it's actually going to cook your fish. But it could suffocate your fish if the water isn't moving and there's no oxygen in that water. So if I had to choose between the two, I would definitely go filtration. Now, your power was only out for 5 hours in New York. I wouldn't hit the panic button over 5 hours. But I had a power outage a while back where it was in the middle of summer and my power was out for 4 days straight. I didn't mess around with the temperature at all. I made sure I got the filters working. The filters were running. I didn't bother with the lights or anything like that. I hooked the generator up to my TV and to the aquarium filters. I had multiple tanks at the time. Didn't lose a single fish, and I had some very valuable fish in those tanks. So I would go filtration because a lot can happen, especially if your power's out for multiple days like mine was. A lot can happen to where the water can just get completely stagnant, get depleted of oxygen. Your fish are suffocating. They're in their own waste. Nobody's flushed the toilet. It looks horrible. It feels horrible for the fish, and they're going to end up suffocating and dying. I'm sure they would much rather have water that's a little more warm than normal. So to address Michael McShane's comment directly, because he didn't ask about filtration, he just asked about keeping them cool. If you are in a situation where you believe that your tank is just way too hot for your fish, it's up at 95 degrees and you're afraid that your fish are going to start cooking from the inside out, what I would do is turn to a friend. What else can you do? You take a bunch of 5-gallon buckets or whatever it is that you have that you can fit water into, take it over to your friends, fill it up with cool water at your friend's house or your mom's house or the fire department down the road, fill them up with cold water, bring that back, and do a water change with that cold water. I think that would help out a lot. I've actually done that in the past, but then I realized it was probably a waste of time because my tanks weren't getting all that hot. But you wouldn't have asked this question if you weren't concerned that your tank is getting too hot. So if it's getting out of control hot and you're really starting to fear for your fish's safety, I would do that. Go get some cool water, dump it in there, give them a nice little breath of fresh, cool water, and they should be fine. So I hope that I've been able to make a little bit more sense out of this for you. Again, if it's summertime, I'm going to get that filter running. I'm not going to be as concerned about temperature. If it's winter, that's a completely different conversation, but you didn't ask about that. Maybe we will save that for another video. So thank you so much for watching this. If you want to see the video that this comment came from, you can click right up here and it'll take you straight to that. And if you haven't seen my video yet where I showed the new fish that I just got in from Live Fish Direct, you can click right here and I'll show you all of those gorgeous fish and take a look at that background that's in the tank too. Absolutely striking. Folks, if you're watching this on the day that the video comes out, Wednesday the 9th, you have today as the last day to go on to livefishdirect.com and save 20% on your fish. Put Tank Talk in the promo box at checkout and get an additional $10 off your order. You don't want to miss out on this. Take advantage of it while you can. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to talking to you again next week with a brand new comment.